Walt Jr. has cerebral palsy. And it's funny because I read that in the Wikipedia and I had to think twice because you introduced him the first season and he has the crutches and everything, but after you get to know him, you do forget about it.
Yeah.
And he's just another fascinating character on the show. And I remember seeing one of the last scenes where you're in high school and you take a phone call from Walt, I think, and then you get the crutches afterwards. And I was like, oh, I forgot he had crutches. Talk to me about that issue, and then the fact that you were born with cerebral palsy. You were born not breathing via cesarean section, and
something like that.
And so you had knowledge of that to the role. There's so much to talk about. Where do you start when people ask?
When it comes down to the role of Walt Jr., and this is the thing, is not many people realize that. As you did watch the show and as you did see Walt Jr., you saw the crutches first, and then you saw the character. But as you are evolving with this character and you're growing, you no longer think about that, and you see the character for what he is. But that's the thing, is that's the mindset that we're in now, is that we see the crutch, or we see the chair, or we see whatever it is first before we see the person. And that's what we need to change, and that's what Breaking Bad changed, is that it gave us a different way of looking at someone that is a real person, that's necessarily has this and living with this, but it's not who he is. It's not what he is. It's not like, it's like I wake up every morning, oh, I have CP today. Let me like make that about that. It's like anyone else. You wake up, you just go, and you never really think about it. I never really even thought about my disability until someone told me I was disabled. And I was like, what are you talking about? They're like, well, what's wrong with you? I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, I'm fine, man. They're like, no, you have like braces on your legs. Why do you have that? And then they're like, oh, because of this. And I explained it. But they're like, okay, but why? And I'd be like, well, it's a number of reasons. I have it. Why not? Like, I need it. And that's something that we need to change. And that's the importance of the power of perception of what they see on television and film, because we can change that mindset. And I always like to think, what if we can affect the mindset of children, of how they perceive disability on the screen? And if that does affect change with that, that will affect not just their generation, but generations to come, of how they perceive disability and how they acknowledge disability. I have a lot of friends in chairs. I have a lot of friends with crutches. And the thing is I don't see the crutch. I see it, but this is the thing. It's an extension of what they are and who they are and what they can do. It's like anything. It's like having a nice pair of shoes. It's like, oh, that's a cool chair, nice. Well, but anyways, blah blah blah. It's like you go on to the next thing. That's what's slowly changing. When it comes to my own disability, I grew up with this. This is all I knew. I never thought it was different. I never thought it was odd. And like I said earlier, until I went to school and someone told me I was different. And I learned with it. I grew up with it. And I was surrounded by people with a number of different disabilities. My mom was in elder care and home care. My grandfather had a stroke and was fully paralyzed on one side. My Aunt Kitty had polio and dealt with anywhere from diabetes to cancer. A lot of my family got taken out from cancer. So I've dealt with everything from long-lasting disabilities to disabilities that will kill you almost instantly. And I don't look at a physical challenge as a disability. I look at anything that's hindering your life or hindering what you want to do as a disability. This can be physical, this can be mental, this can be family, this can be friends, this can be your environment, your work. That in itself can be disabilities. I don't look at individuals with a disability. I look at everyone. We have these challenges. And the more of a challenge it is, it's a personal challenge. It's a challenge directed at you that you have to overcome. And people like to put it to the side, but when it's their own, they put it to the side, and hopefully it goes away. But when you embrace it and you utilize it and you turn it into a knowledge factor, a power factor, For me, a disability in itself is that challenge. It's a challenge for you to grow. It's a challenge for you to learn something about yourself that you don't or will not learn without that challenge. And it ranges from person to person. But I look at it as a strength, as knowledge, as something that you will utilize in the long run. For me, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able to do what I do right now if it wasn't for my CP. I wouldn't have ever booked Breaking Bad. I would have never worked with the organizations that I get to work with. I would never have the same opportunities. First of all, if I moved to Los Angeles, I would have been another face in the crowd. I would have been another actor that went out there to meet kids his own age. I did it to meet kids my own age, but most people go to do whatever they want, to be an actor, to be famous, to be whatever. But I would have just fell into that category of, oh, this is an able-bodied, dark hair, big eyebrows. Like, at the time, I was like 5'7", 5'8". Like, I would have fit in a sheet, and they would have just passed me around. And yes, I still fit in that sheet. And yes, I didn't put CP on, but I would have never gotten the opportunity for Breaking Bad that gave me so many more opportunities to use as a platform. And I think that people need to, the quicker they look at what they have, and not just physical and mental, but in general, the challenges that they have, as a challenge they need to accept versus a challenge they need to avoid.
Right.
They will be so much further ahead.
Right. So accept it as an asset, and then when you overcome it, the world sees the power you have. Exactly. And use it as, we call it, as a term called IP, intellectual property, where everyone has their own, IP. That's kind of yours, because like you said, otherwise you're in the crowd. Now you're this special guy.
It makes you unique. It gives you another aspect, and it gives you a different way of looking at an individual, of how you process and how you see that person. And we don't really pay attention to our body. We don't really pay attention to our mindset. We just go and go and go, and the next thing you know, it's like, oh, I feel like this, I gotta deal with this, and then just give me something to make it go away. But why not, instead of just trying to take something to fix it, why don't you go and look inside and fix it yourself? Break it down for yourself. We have a tendency to let our fears manipulate us. We have a tendency to fall into a category where we just go, I can't change this. This is me. This is what I have to deal with, and I'm going to mope about that and just keep ignoring it and focus on another direction. But what if, instead of ignoring it, you utilized it, you worked on it, you turned it for your benefit? And some people can do that, and some people can't. And that's fine, but we all have to learn what we need to do and what we need to grow with to not just better our environment, but better ourselves. But we don't always do that, and we tend to take an easier road. For me, I don't like to take the easy road. I like a little bit of a struggle. I like a challenge. For me, it's not worth it if it comes to you easy. Nothing in life comes easy, and if you think it should, you are very mistaken. Because what's it worth then if it comes easy? What's the value of that? There is none. It came easy. And I feel like you have a tendency to just use and use and use, and then it's all used up. But if you worked for it and you appreciate it and you work towards what you truly wanted, you see the value in it, you see the appreciation in it, and you can utilize it. And you can utilize it at a higher value versus, oh yeah, this is what I got, and let's just send it out and hope for the best. Versus, this is what I have, this is what we're using, and this is what we're going to drive home with. It's like the difference between someone going into a meeting and expressing their passion for what they're doing versus the guy going into the meeting going, yeah, this is what I do. You going to hire me or not? Like, yeah, you may get by in this world a little bit with that, but will you prosper? No.
To watch the rest of this fascinating interview, click on the link below and go to LondonRealAcademy.com. There you can sign in with your social media, log in and watch the rest of the episode for free, along with all of our episodes on London Real, my webinars, and all of our premium content, all located over at LondonRealAcademy.com. So click on the link below, you'll be directed there and you can watch the rest of this fascinating interview, and I'll see you there.